The compound looked like a war zone dressed in diamonds. Every year, the Kessler Security Syndicate's top brass gathered here at my mother's estate. A sprawling fortress with helipads, biometric gates, and bulletproof glass so thick it distorted the horizon. It was all posturing, theatrics, an annual flex of dominance, cloaked in overpriced tactical gear and hollow toasts. I rolled in behind the convoy of SUVs, polished, armored, ego-stuffed. My truck wheezed as I parked it between Leon's black-on-black custom Humvee and Miranda's titanium Rover with facial recognition handles. Both vehicles gleamed with the kind of narcissism that could pass for tactical efficiency. I killed the engine and climbed out. The sun caught the rust on my fender like a spotlight on shame. Leon's voice pierced the air before I even closed my door. Wow, still rocking the junkyard chic aesthetic, huh? Is that thing legal to drive? Miranda added, her voice syrupy with contempt. You might be a security risk just sitting in the lot. I didn't flinch, just adjusted my field jacket and locked eyes with Leon. Still compensating with horsepower, I see. Leon laughed, all teeth. Nice boots. You working mall security now, or is that your formal wear? Whatever keeps the drones grounded, I said, brushing past them. Inside, the compound buzzed with military contractors, ex-CIA types, private intelligence execs. They shook hands and compared kill stats like they were swapping recipes. I scanned the crowd, every inch of me resisting the urge to roll my eyes. Then I spotted her. My mother stood at the top of the curved staircase like a queen preparing to grant favors. Her platinum hair was pulled back in that severe style she favored when commanding attention. As I approached, her smile froze into that expression she reserved just for me, polite, cold, evaluative. Elena, she said, kissing the air beside my cheek. You look functional. Thanks, I said. You look extremely in charge. She accepted the compliment with a graceful nod. It's been a remarkable year for the family. Leon secured 3 new counterinsurgency contracts in the Caucasus. Miranda's intel division completed a full cycle of predictive warfare modeling. That's great, I said, pretending to sip the champagne someone handed me. And what have you been up to? She asked. Though her tone made it clear she didn't care, I checked my watch. Right on cue, my encrypted device buzzed inside my jacket pocket. I glanced down at the message. Target acquired. Stage 1 complete. I smiled. Oh, I said, slipping the device away. Actually, I've got news of my own. Leon and Miranda were still circling like sharks nearby. I could feel their smirks tighten. Really? Leon asked. Please don't tell me your drone hobby finally picked up a customer. Miranda snorted. Or did you land a lucrative contract with a model airplane club? I didn't rise to it. Just held their gaze and let the silence stretch. You'll see soon enough, I said. You might want to clear the lawn. They blinked. Elena, my mother began. But I was already turning toward the back patio, where the sound of distant rotor blades was beginning to echo over the hills. This year, the syndicate's gathering would be unforgettable. Not because of Leon. Not because of Miranda. Because of me. I didn't say anything at first. I just walked toward the back patio, weaving through syndicate brass who barely acknowledged me. From the corner of my eye, I could see Leon and Miranda following, chuckling like they were headed to watch me embarrass myself. Elena, Miranda called, fake friendly. You're not actually trying to give a toast, are you? Leon snorted. Please let her. This might be the best entertainment we've had all night. I ignored them and stepped out into the open air. The sun was dipping low behind the hills, painting the sky in burnished copper. Guests spilled out onto the lawn, drink glasses catching the light. Everyone was relaxed, self-satisfied. Then, from far off, came a sound that didn't belong. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Rotors. The chatter thinned as heads turned toward the sound. People shaded their eyes, looking toward the sky. I pulled the encrypted tablet from my jacket and powered it on. Leon stepped beside me, arms crossed. Let me guess. You're calling an Uber chopper? Miranda smirked. Better idea. Maybe she finally sold one of those prototype kites she calls drones and used the cash for a joyride. I didn't even look at them. My eyes stayed locked on the black silhouette approaching fast over the treetops. That's my transport, I said calmly. Leon scoffed. Jesus, you can barely afford gas. Whose helicopter did you steal? I tapped on the screen, opening the live transaction log. And as for my little drone company? The helicopter banked sharply and descended, fast and precise. You could hear the shift in energy ripple through the guests. The aircraft was sleek, next-gen silent blades, Cerberus Dynamics branding across the undercarriage in matte black. Today, I continued, voice even. We finalized a key acquisition. Leon turned to face me fully now, grin twitching. Oh, what? You bought some storage closet from a bankrupt tech firm? He laughed. Congratulations. I guess that makes you a big shot now. I turned the tablet toward him. On the screen, Cerberus Dynamics confirms full acquisition of Kessler Tactical Division. 6.8B USD, signed and executed. He froze. I gave him one more second to read it. Congratulations to you, Leon, I said softly, on unknowingly selling me your division. Miranda's head snapped toward me. What the hell are you talking about? You might want to call your board, I said, assuming they're still picking up. The helicopter touched down on the estate lawn, kicking up a neat spiral of wind. Guests backed up in a ripple. A few of the syndicate officers looked panicked. The side door slid open, and out stepped Nolan Vex, the CEO of Cerberus Dynamics, the man who'd been anonymous until now, the man most of these guests assumed didn't exist. He walked calmly across the lawn in a fitted coat, nodded once at me, then extended a hand. Elena, he said, congratulations. Smoothest transition we've ever pulled off. Leon's mouth moved, but nothing came out. Then finally, you bought us? 6.8 billion, I said. A little below market, honestly. Your board was disillusioned. Miranda stumbled back a step like someone had shoved her. You're bluffing, Leon growled. You're not that rich. You don't have the leverage. I handed him the tablet. Check the timestamps. Or better yet, wait until the financial press picks it up in the next 20 minutes. Behind us, the helicopter doors stayed open. Cerberus had landed, and the empire they once used to mock me from, it now had my name on it. I walked back into the party like I was just stretching my legs, calm, unrushed, tablet still in hand. But the air had changed. The crowd had thinned, scattered into loose clumps near the windows, watching the Cerberus helicopter idle on the lawn like a bomb that hadn't finished going off. My mother stood near the center of the ballroom, flanked by Leon and Miranda. Her wine glass hovered midair. She wasn't smiling anymore. Elena, she said carefully, what is going on? I held up the tablet. I figured some of you would need confirmation in writing. Miranda rolled her eyes, but didn't move. She still hadn't processed it. Acquisition papers, I continued. Kessler Tactical Division, your division, Leon, officially absorbed by Cerberus Dynamics. As of 800 this morning, unanimous board vote. She was holding a champagne flute. It slipped from her fingers and shattered on the marble. What? She whispered. Leon's jaw tightened. That's impossible. We have safeguards. Chain of command protocols. Had, I corrected, scrolling through the PDF. You had protocols. But it turns out, when you ignore 4 quarters of declining performance, and one of your shareholders owns the only company supplying AI-integrated drone tech to NATO. I looked up and met his eyes. That shareholder starts asking questions. Then she starts buying. A gasp behind me. I turned. My mother had gone pale. Her hand clutched the back of a chair. And then I heard the voice I hadn't heard all night. Cerberus, he said softly. My father, General Arturo Kessler, retired, decorated, feared, still capable of silencing a room with one word. He stepped forward slowly, expression unreadable. That's yours, he asked. The drone company supplying NATO? Was, I said. Now it's ours. Sort of. His face flickered, something between disbelief and pride, but leaning hard into fear. Flash. Just like that, I was back in the garage, 5 years ago, showing him the first-generation Cerberus drone. Lightweight, agile, smarter than most human pilots. I remembered his response like it was carved into my ribs. This isn't warfare, he'd said. It's toy soldiers. And then Leon, grinning behind him, cutting the drone's GPS feed during my test demo just to watch it crash into a fence. And Miranda, siphoning off my R&D funds under data security realignment and sending them to some Black Ops vanity project. You all laughed when I left, I said now. You told me automated warfare was a fantasy, that no serious nation would fund it. that drone tactics were for nerds and NGOs. Leon opened his mouth. I cut him off with a look. You sabotaged my field trials, Leon. He blinked. And you, Miranda, I said, shifting my gaze. You rerouted my funding in Q3 of 2020 to cover that failed ops theater in Sudan. I still have the accounting reports. Miranda opened her mouth to speak but said nothing. My mother turned to me, eyes sharp. You could have come to us. We're your family, I shook my head. No, you're the board that shut me down. The family that mocked me behind closed doors. The empire that called me a mistake. Behind me, the door opened. Director Tan stepped inside. Sharp suit, silver hair, ex-NSA. The mentor who helped me prototype the Cerberus flight stack when no one else would return my emails. She was right, he said calmly. Every head turned. The name alone carried weight. My father's face went stiff. She saw the future, Tan added. Kessler saw legacy. She built Cerberus while you were chasing ghosts. The room was dead silent. Then, slowly, the realization began to set in. The looks, the posture shifts, the dawning understanding that I wasn't the embarrassment in the field jacket anymore. I was their superior. And the war they didn't see coming? I'd already won it. The estate's war room hadn't changed in 20 years. It still smelled like leather, old money, and unresolved grudges. Maps of conflict zones blinked across massive digital panels. Global incident trackers pulsed quietly in the background. For a place designed to plan wars, it felt strangely claustrophobic. I stood at the front of the table while my family sat clustered near the back like stunned executives after a hostile takeover. Which, to be fair, they were. Outside, I could hear the hum of cameras and murmurs from the press, who had already caught wind of the buyout. Syndicate guards were scrambling to lock the perimeter. Too late. You're dismantling a family legacy, my father said, standing rigid with one hand on the table like he was still commanding troops. No, I said, tapping my tablet. I'm revealing what your legacy became. Behind me, the display flickered. Cerberus versus Kessler market data. Slide after slide showed Kessler's downward spiral. Contract losses, outdated tech, bad press, overpriced bloat. Then came the Cerberus column. Agile growth, rapid deployment metrics, AI systems already integrated into allied military frameworks. Leon snorted. You cherry-picked data. Kessler still controls the North Africa corridor. I didn't flinch. Controlled. As of this morning, that's under Cerberus supervision. Your team failed to secure the drone corridor in Al Jafir 3 times. He opened his mouth to argue again, but I brought up the footage. Cerberus drones intercepting hostile convoys in real time. Same terrain, same time frame. More effective in a third of the cost, and without boots on the ground. Let's talk theft, Leon said. You used insider access, our systems, our blueprints. I slid to the next panel. Patent filings, timestamps, demo footage. Every technical component developed at Cerberus predated anything Kessler attempted. I even pulled up a rejected contract proposal I'd sent to the syndicate board 5 years ago, detailing the exact drone architecture that Cerberus now deploys worldwide. You rejected this, I said, letting the silence stretch. Said it was unrealistic, not scalable. That warfare would always require a human trigger. Miranda leaned forward now, voice low and sharp. And how exactly did you build Cerberus? With what funding? Who gave you capital? I earned it, I said. Seed investors, academic grants, licensing deals you all said were beneath you. Then I pulled up the kicker. An early-stage rejection memo from Kessler Legal, Leon's department, mocking my application as too conceptual and high risk. You funneled my designs into black box projects and buried them. So I left. I built it myself. And now Cerberus is outpacing you in every measurable field. My father's voice cut through the air again, gravel hard. You're replacing people with machines. That's not strategy. That's cowardice. I looked at him dead on. What you call cowardice, the world calls survival. Autonomous systems reduce casualties, eliminate operator fatigue, don't need sleep, politics, or pensions. He stared at me like he didn't recognize the person standing in front of him. Maybe he didn't. Maybe I wasn't his daughter anymore. I was the threat he never trained for. I didn't steal Kessler, I said. I earned Cerberus, Then I outmaneuvered you. I didn't break your legacy, Dad. I beat it. For a long time, no one spoke. Not Leon, not Miranda, not the general. The war room was quiet for once, but the battlefield had already shifted, and I was the one holding the map. The hangar felt like something out of a sci-fi movie. Steel walls, motion-tracked spotlights, a semicircle of flags from allied nations. Behind me, a Cerberus tactical drone hovered silently on standby, its alloy plating gleaming under the floodlights. I stepped onto the podium in a fitted blazer and combat boots. No logos, no medals, no pretense. Just the woman who'd pulled off the most ruthless buyout in the history of private defense. And now I was here to show them why. The press pit was already full. CNN, Al Jazeera, Wired Defense, even a few military attachés pretending to be journalists. They'd all rushed here the moment the Cerberus-Kessler merger hit the wire an hour ago. Cameras flashed as I adjusted the mic. "Good afternoon," I said. "I'm Elena Rojas, CEO of Cerberus Dynamics, and as of this morning, Acting Executive Director of Cerberus Tactical, formerly Kessler Security." A flurry of raised hands shot up immediately. A woman in a dark blazer spoke first. "Why didn't you disclose your identity earlier? Were you hiding something?" "No," I said. "I was building without interference. Hiding was strategy. Silence kept me safe from sabotage." A younger guy near the front stood up. "Was this a vendetta? A hostile takeover just to humiliate your family?" I didn't blink. It was a course correction. Tactical leadership requires evolution. Kessler refused to evolve. So I made sure someone did. I tapped my remote. A screen descended behind me, playing silent footage. Cerberus drones in active response zones. One intercepted a live cyber attack on a U.S. submarine control grid. Another dropped encrypted medkits into a refugee encampment in northern Syria. No soldiers deployed, no fire exchanged. Then a final clip. Cerberus units remotely disabling a rogue weapons convoy on the Afghan border. Surgical, unmanned, precise. "This," I said, turning back to the crowd, "is what Kessler called impractical." The murmurs started immediately, some impressed, some uneasy. In the back, I spotted them, my mother, arms folded. Leon, pale and stone-faced. Miranda, blinking like she still couldn't believe she had to enter the hangar as a spectator. I didn't look away. I clicked the remote again, and this time I pulled up archived board meeting minutes. I enlarged one section at the center of the screen. Rojas' proposal denied unanimously. Unvetted, fantastical. Leon Kessler, Board Chair 2020. Then a second slide. Redirect Elena's research budget toward Miranda's priority ops, discreetly. And a third, not enough polish, lacks the pedigree, bad optics for leadership. Note from Mother, redlined into my personnel review. The journalist noticed. I let the room stew for a moment before I spoke again. "These are the voices that told me I didn't belong," I said. "That I was chasing science fiction, that I lacked the image of leadership." I turned back toward the press, letting the pause hang. They were wrong, and this, I motioned toward the hangar behind me, the drones silently waiting. This is the future of warfare. More flashes. Reporters whispered to each other. My mother looked away. A man from BBC stood up. "Ms. Rojas, what's next for Cerberus Tactical?" "Scaling," I said. "International contracts, R&D expansion, and a full operational review, starting with personnel." That got a reaction. Leon flinched. Miranda stiffened. "And what about your family?" a voice asked. "Do they still have roles within the company?" I smiled. "Ask them after orientation." With that, I stepped down from the podium. The war had already been won. This was just the victory lap. The debriefing room was all glass and angles, clean, modern, and intentionally cold. No family portraits, no plaques, just silence, polished concrete floors, and a sleek Cerberus insignia glowing on the far wall. My father sat at the head of the table like he still ran the room. Leon leaned back with arms crossed, trying to project confidence. Miranda kept checking her phone like she could scroll her way out of this. I stood at the opposite end, hands folded, calm, measured, in control. "We want reinstatement," my father said first, his voice low and firm. "Titles, authority, access." Leon nodded. I built tactical ops from scratch. That should mean something, Miranda chimed in. I've run global intelligence logistics for 4 years. This isn't some college internship, Elena. You don't get to put us in the kiddie pool. I nodded once. Then I pulled 3 identical folders from the bag at my side and placed them on the table. What's this? Miranda asked. Your contracts, I said. Cerberus offers everyone a fair shot, regardless of their last name. Leon opened his and immediately stiffened. You're offering me a junior analyst position? In field R&D, yes, I said. You'll assist on drone oversight, systems testing, and tactical data modeling. It's a 6-month rotation, entry level. You've got to be kidding, Miranda hissed, flipping through her own. You want me doing report consolidation under some kid who doesn't even have a security clearance? Her name's Dr. Nazari, I said. She's 26. She holds 2 patents in neural integration and trained at Langley. You'll be lucky to keep up. My father hadn't touched his folder. You're humiliating us, he said quietly. No, I replied. I'm offering you a path, but I'm not handing out parachutes to people who pushed me out of the plane. Leon stood, red creeping up his neck. This is personal. This is structural, I said. Cerberus has no room for legacy hires, no ceremonial roles. You want in? Earn it. I'm not working under children, Miranda snapped. Then walk. They stared at me like they thought I'd blink first. I didn't. I'm not here to resurrect Kessler, I said, stepping toward the door. I'm here to upgrade it. Leon shoved the folder off the table. It hit the floor with a slap. Cerberus doesn't need your permission, I added. It already won. My father finally spoke again. This isn't how family treats each other. I paused. No, I said, looking at each of them in turn. But it is how leaders rebuild what family broke. And with that, I left them there, surrounded by the ruins of their entitlement and the echo of their own arrogance. The future wasn't waiting for them, but I might, if they could keep up. Cerberus HQ was nothing like the Kessler estate. No ornamental fountains, no portraits of dead generals or gleaming display cases filled with dusty medals. Just clean lines, autonomous perimeter patrols, and security drones humming above a brutalist compound carved into the side of a Nevada ridge. At Oro 700 sharp, I stood in my executive suite. Glass walls, matte steel, surveillance feeds looping silently on my left. My coffee steamed on the counter. Below, through the tinted floor-to-ceiling windows, I watched the armored shuttle arrive. Out stepped my father, Leon, and Miranda. No escorts, no fanfare, no special entrance. Just 3 new hires, walking stiffly toward a security gate that scanned their IDs without a second glance. The gate didn't care who they used to be. I tapped into the live feed as they passed through retinal verification. The system greeted them all with the same words. Welcome, Orientation Group B7. Proceed to Lobby 3. A pair of autonomous drones flanked them immediately, escorting them like interns. Not because they were important, because they weren't cleared to walk the campus unsupervised. I took one last sip of coffee and headed down. In the lobby, they stood quietly, surrounded by polished concrete, digital projectors displaying fleet analytics, and a rotating display of Cerberus drone schematics. Leon was squinting at one of the drones like he was trying to figure out how to insult it. Miranda had her arms crossed and was chewing the inside of her cheek. My father just looked tired. I stepped in through the glass door, holding a trio of slim briefing packets. Morning, I said, handing each one their assigned schedule. You'll be working under Dr. Ava Nazari. She's 26, holds dual PhDs in AI combat systems and neurofeedback architecture. Leon raised an eyebrow. She's in charge? She's published more than either of you, I said. And she doesn't need legacy clearance to get respect. Miranda flipped open the folder. Tactical architecture simulations, fleet learning logs, drone behavior escalation audits. This is intern-level grunt work. Exactly, I said. My father didn't open his packet, just stared at the massive Cerberus drone on display. This place, he muttered, doesn't feel like a defense firm, feels like a tech company with guns. Good, I said. That means it's working. He finally looked at me. You really built all this? I smiled. While you were training your heirs for a war that's already outdated, I was building the next battlefield. They didn't argue, not this time. As I led them toward the training wing, Leon muttered something under his breath. I caught the end of it. treating us like trainees. I didn't turn around. You are, I said. Try to keep up. Their titles were gone, their old world influence stripped, and for the first time in their lives, they were stepping into something they didn't control. Now they'd see what it took to build something real, something future-proof. The Innovation Vault wasn't on any official Cerberus maps. Buried 4 levels below the main R&D wing, it required biometric scans, voice verification, and a Cerberus neural key to access. Inside, it was silent, climate-controlled, dimly lit, and lined with exhibits that looked more like the future than the present. Polished floors reflected sleek prototype drones suspended midair, each tagged with devlogs, kill switch protocols, and field success rates. This was where we kept what Kessler said would never work, and now I was walking my family through it. Leon's boots echoed behind me, just a half step too fast, impatient. Miranda stayed quiet, her eyes flicking across data panels. My father trailed last, his posture straight, but slower than usual. The weight of everything hung in the space between us. I stopped in front of a side-by-side display, one screen showing Cerberus drones airlifting medical payloads during a blackout in Poland, another showing Kessler's delayed response to a similar crisis in Colombia. Powerless, grounded, bureaucratic. Efficiency matters, I said. Speed saves lives. Autonomy cuts through red tape. Leon grunted. This doesn't make you better. You're just replacing humans. No, I said, turning to face them. I'm replacing ego. You all were so obsessed with boots on the ground that you forgot what war actually costs. I led them deeper. A prototype called the Helix class orbited silently above our heads. A stealth recon drone with adaptive threat learning. My father stopped beneath it. Cerberus built this, he asked. From the ground up, I said. Every AI framework, every neural map, none of it based on Kessler blueprints. You had the chance. You chose not to fund it. He stared at the drone like it had personally betrayed him. Why didn't you tell us? He asked quietly. I looked at him. Because you would have crushed it, I said. Or worse, claimed it. His brows furrowed. We would never. I pulled up the final feed on my tablet and tapped a sequence. A large display on the wall lit up with grainy surveillance footage. November 2019, I said. Leon meeting with Kessler's legal director in Prague, discussing how to seize Cerberus trademarks under pretext of national security. Leon stepped forward. That's out of context. July 2020, I continued. Miranda rerouting investor interest away from my seed round, using a shell account to buy out their stake, then ghosting the project. Miranda's lips parted. You monitored us? I protected myself, I said. I knew you'd try to strangle it before it left the launch pad. I scrolled again. Do you want to hear the voicemail Mom left one of my early advisors, warning him I was mentally unfit for leadership? Silence. No one spoke. The footage ran on loop. Backroom meetings, phone logs, tampered documents. Proof that they hadn't just doubted me. They tried to sabotage me. I watched everything, I said softly. That's why I won. My father looked at the footage, then back at me. And this whole museum, what is it? I turned slowly, letting them take in the massive room. It's what you called impossible, I said. It's everything you buried. They looked around like they were seeing Cerberus for the first time. They weren't just behind. They were obsolete. And now they knew it. The airfield was quiet except for the hum of cameras repositioning. The backdrop was simple, the new Cerberus tactical logo, crimson lines forming a wolf's head, sharp and lean. No gold trim, no military stars, just clean design and forward momentum. The press had been called for one final moment, the unveiling of the company's new leadership team. They expected executives, maybe foreign partners. What they got was something else entirely. I stepped onto the platform first, flanked by Harrison, my chief strategist, and Director Tan. Cerberus badges gleamed on our lapels. Then I turned. Bring them up, I said. The Kesslers filed out slowly from the side hangar, my father, Leon, and Miranda, all in standard Cerberus uniforms. No medals, no special insignia, just Navy tactical jackets and employee access tags, the photographers murmured. My father paused just short of the platform. You're really doing this? You said you wanted to understand what I built, I replied. Then learn, from the bottom. He glanced back at Leon and Miranda. Leon looked like he wanted to say something, but kept his mouth shut. Miranda's expression was unreadable. Eventually, they all stepped forward and joined me in front of the cameras. The new face of tactical security, the banner above us read. A dozen camera shutters clicked in unison. After the photo, they stepped off. I didn't linger. I walked straight back toward the command tower, where Harrison was waiting. Stock's up 32% since the rebrand, he said, scrolling on his tablet. 3 new NATO contracts in the pipeline. Singapore and Israel want pilot programs. DARPA just bumped us up to Tier 1 tech partner. I nodded. What about legacy media? Some grumbling about nepotism, until they saw the footage of Leon in the orientation simulator getting outscored by a 20-year-old intern. I smirked. Outside the hangar, a flatbed truck reversed slowly into the lot. On it, my old civilian pickup. The same one that started all this, rusted, beat up, faithful to the end. Right behind it, a matte black Cerberus armored command vehicle waited with my name etched on the side. A tech walked up to me. They're towing your truck for decommissioning. Any last requests? I looked at it, every dent and patch job telling a story. Then I smiled. Yeah, I said. Tell Leon his Humvee's blocking the drone launch pad. The tech nodded and jogged off. I stood there a moment longer, watching the last piece of my old self roll off into history. Sometimes I dreamed of vengeance. I used to think about calling them all out on stage and watching them crumble. But now they were learning, and that was the real victory. Sometimes the best revenge isn't crushing your enemies, it's training them.